take a breath, I'm not gonna lose. This is what I came here to do. I walk that wire and I take that step. Won't look down, got no regrets. Won't look down, got no regrets. I was made for this. I was made for this. Born in the wild, formed in the fire, built for the battle. Oh, I was made for this. I was made for this. Mind over matter, silence the doubters. I had the power. Oh, I was made for this. I can only have one.
Happy Tuesday to all of you insubordinates out there, and thank you for joining me tonight on Common Sense. I hope you're having a great week so far, just like I am. Tonight, I'm going to talk about standing up for our rights and our freedoms, and I'm going to play a pretty dramatic audio of just what standing up for your rights sounds like. More people need to stand up for their rights in a big way, just like you're going to hear in this clip coming up. I'm also going to talk about a local politician and something that, I don't know, might get me banned. I don't care. It has to be said. But first, thank you for supporting this show's sponsor, MinutemenCoffee.com. And remember, if you drink coffee, you might as well order it from a patriot. If you ordered 2 pounds at least of American Culp coffee and use the discount code CULP, all capital letters, you'll get 15% off your order. So let's support a patriot and go to Minutemen Coffee, MinutemenCoffee.com. So, all right, let's get to our rights and how to exercise and defend them. I want to be clear, I'm not going to give you legal advice. I'm not an attorney. I don't play one on TV, and I don't plan on being one. I can tell you what I would do and what I have done as a police officer to protect our rights, to protect citizens' rights. How you want to go about doing that for yourself or others is completely up to you. Right now, I'm going to talk about our rights. In particular tonight, it's the Fourth Amendment. The Fourth Amendment says that the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants shall issue but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. That's very clear. And there's a lot of case law that demonstrates its validity. Okay, this clip that I'm going to share with you in a few minutes involves health inspectors and their 3 police security detail that's with them, and a church pastor and a church. And this church pastor understands his rights. When a government employee shows up with the police, that's a show of force. In fact, I would say that any government employee is a show of force because they have the full force of the government agency they represent behind them. A lot of government agencies like to use the presence of the police as a show of force. And a lot of police agencies allow it to happen. They enter homes, churches, and businesses with pretty much impunity most of the time. Now, I completely understand why, because a lot of government agencies like to trample on citizens' rights. And many times, citizens don't like it and don't put up with it. But I believe far too often they do put up with it. Now, I have accompanied government employees. I mean, I was a government employee as a police officer and police chief, and as a soldier in the Army way back in the day. But I've accompanied some government employees on welfare checks for their safety on calls where the citizen has allowed it. But I've told them, if any enforcement actions are to be taken, and that's the reason we're going there, like to take a child from their parents, then they need a warrant issued by a judge before I would go. Many times they didn't like that, but that's the way it has to be in order to uphold and defend the Constitution, unless it's some sort of an emergency. I had more than one CPS worker try to get me to take a child without a court order by telling me, well, on my last visit, this was the conditions, this happened, it was really bad, we need to go take this child. And my reply to them was, well, it wasn't so bad that you needed to call 911 when you were there last time. And you've had plenty of time since to write a warrant, get a court order. So go see the judge now. Unless someone is in imminent danger, which would fall under exigent circumstances, then a warrant is the law, because that's what the Fourth Amendment says. I've also done many police actions where we entered people's homes, seized property and people, but only after I swore an oath or another officer swore an oath before an impartial judge showing the probable cause for the crime that we were investigating, the people we planned to arrest, and the evidence that we were searching for. If in the execution of that warrant, we'd find evidence of other crimes, then we would contact the judge, ask to expand the warrant for the new crime that we had probable cause for, and they would either grant the expansion of that warrant or they wouldn't, and we would act accordingly. So this clip that I'm going to share is of health inspectors showing up with 3 cops at a church. And something happened that they probably weren't expecting. Or maybe they were, I don't know. But this is how the citizens stand up for the rights. Nothing violent, no pushing or physical contact, but there is no mistaking this pastor knows his rights, and he isn't having anything to do with the government violating his rights. This is the audio, but you could find the video by looking up Dinesh D'Souza. So here you go. All right, what happened to it? No, really, I got it. Okay, listen to this. I'll move this a little closer. Get my stuff out of the way. So here we go.
Please get out. Get out of this property. Immediately get out. Get out of this property. Immediately. Out of this property. Immediately. I don't want to hear a word. Out. Out. Out of this property. Immediately until you come back with a warrant. Out. 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 Out of this property. Immediately out. Immediately go out and don't come back. I don't want to talk to you. Not a word. Out of this property. Immediately out. I don't care what you have to say. Out. Out. Out of this property, you Nazis. Out. Out. Gestapo is not allowed here. Immediately, Gestapo is not allowed. Out. Do you understand English? Get out of this property. Go. So go. Go. And don't come back without a warrant. Out, Nazi. Out. Out. You understand? Nazis are not welcome here. Out. And don't come back without a warrant. Do not come back without a warrant. You understand that? You're not welcome here. Nazis are not welcome here. Gestapo is not welcome here. Do not come back, you Nazi psychopaths. Unbelievable, sick, evil people. In in a church during the Passover. You Gestapo, Nazi, communist, fascists. Don't you dare coming back here. Can you imagine those psychopaths? Passover, the holiest Christian festival in a year, and they're coming to intimidate Christians during the holiest festival? Unbelievable. What is wrong with those sick psychopaths? It's beyond me.
So there you heard it. Shame on any police officers that would go to a church and be involved in harassing people. Now, think about how it was in colonial America before the Declaration of Independence, before the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, before we kicked Britons behind in the Revolutionary War to bring freedom to the colonies. Think about how it was. The British soldiers could just walk right through citizens' doors and search anyone's home that they felt like searching. Government agents could come to your business or your place of worship and do the same thing. Walk right in and search, harass or find the people. They could arrest anyone that they wanted to. They didn't need a warrant to take your things or to take you or to search your property. They just did it. The abuses from the government at the time is why we ended up fighting and winning the war for independence. And those abuses are why our founders wrote the Fourth Amendment, among all the others. Now here we are in 2021. Do you see any resemblance? We have the right to be secure against government abuses like this. We have the right to be secured in our homes and our businesses, and that also includes the security of our country. Do you know where in the Constitution that it says that it talks about security of our country and where it's the federal government's responsibility? I'll cover that when we come back. Stick with me. And I'll also shed some light on an elected public servant that you've all heard about. I mean, I've mentioned this person on my show before, but I'm going to show you even more proof that this so-called conservative is anything but a conservative. I'll be right back.
I'm untouchable.
Would you have a message for Lauren Culp?
Who's Lauren Culp?
Hi, I'm Christopher Gergen, Senior Advisor to the Culp organization. You know, I spent over a year on the road campaigning with the American Cop, and from those experiences, I thought I really knew Lauren Culp. But then, I read Lauren's new book, and holy there's so much more to this guy than I could have ever imagined. His new book, An Insubordinate Life, pulls back the curtain and reveals the real-life experiences that shaped the conservative warrior many of you got to know on the campaign trail. The follow-up book to his #1 bestseller, American Cop, hits the market in May 2021. But you can get on the pre-sale list now to get a signed copy of the book before everyone else. To get your copy of An Insubordinate Life, visit chiefculp.com. And while you're there, check out all of Lauren's patriotic gear designed specifically for patriots like you. So what are you waiting for? Head over to chiefculp.com to get your copy of An Insubordinate Life today.
All right, welcome back. Thank you for hanging around with me. I really appreciate you guys. And pretty quick, I'm going to get set up to where I can actually see your comments while we're doing the show. So, okay, the Constitution. Don't you just love that word? Constitution, Bill of Rights, Declaration of Independence, individual freedom and liberty. Those words and those documents, they give me chills, and they make me very proud to be an American. I absolutely love this country, and it's worth fighting for. Agree? Where else are we going to go? We have to get back to the foundation of what this country was founded on, back to the Constitution, back to the Declaration of Independence, back to the Bill of Rights, back to what made this country so great. The way we do that is by electing people to office who will actually stand up like that pastor I played the clip for. Imagine if we had public servants elected to office that represented us. That pastor represented his church. Imagine that. Think about that for a second. What our fathers fought against was that type of thing going on. And for our government to trample rights, it's just American. If we had people like that pastor, you think we'd have to worry about what right now? I don't. We need people who will stand up against the socialists who are tearing down our country. People who aren't afraid. Even if they are, they stand firm on the principles that made this country great. They don't give in. They don't cave to the fear. Natural thing. Pushing through it is not. But that's who we need in office. That is not, however, the actions of Congress and House. I've got my sights on the guy. He not only voted to impeach the 45th president, but he co-sponsored a bill with the Democrats to support people who broke our laws getting to this country. We already have visas available for farm workers, but Newhouse is using that guise for this. Newhouse is pushing things that will only increase the surge at our southern border. His bill also increases taxpayer funding for housing illegals. This at a time when the government has already spent about $90 million just recently for hotel rooms near the southern border, and is shipping hundreds of thousands of illegals all over the United States. This is misguided and self-serving to him, to Newhouse. And it smacks in the face of every American and legal immigrant in this nation. If we're going to propose more tax dollars, more than our bloated government is already spending, then it would be better to spend it on Americans like our veterans. Many of them are living on the streets. Or how about letting our businesses open up so our citizens don't end up on the streets? Or how about opening our schools so that our kids can get an education? Newhouse is anything but a conservative. He's a definition of a rhino. And he's been in Congress way too long. We need to do something about that situation. Now, I've read a lot of messages from people saying that they're done voting because it doesn't matter anymore. I believe that to be true in statewide races in Washington, but more local races like county commissioners, state legislator, senators, state senators, and congressional races, it's not true in most cases. We have to vote in every election. If we give up, they've won. But voting isn't enough. We need everyone active in the process as well. We need PCOs, and we need people observing the counting. I talked about this last week. So if you missed last week's show, go back and watch. I talked about the need for PCOs, precinct committee officers, and what they are and do. It's not a hard job, but it's very necessary, and there's a lot of positions open. I'm not going to give up, you guys. I'm not going to give in. We have to stand up for our country and put people into office we can depend on to uphold and defend the Constitution and get rid of rhinos like Butler and Newhouse and others. They need to get out. Oh, I was going to tell you where in the Constitution it talks about our nation's security and immigration. Article 1, Section 8. It gives the federal government the power to establish a uniform rule of naturalization. And then in Article 4, Section 4, it says that the United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion. There used to be politicians on both sides who believed in our national sovereignty, our nation's sovereignty, and the rule of law, when it came to immigration. You can watch video clips of well-known politicians on both sides, and you can see that they've completely flip-flopped on this issue. And the question is why? Why did they do that? And it's the same reason that they want guaranteed basic income for everybody. And then they want to eliminate the Second Amendment. It's all about control. That's what socialists do. I won't ever give up, ever. Please contact your Republican Party chairman in your county and become a PCO. Leave a comment and let me know what you think about the subject that I talked about tonight. And don't forget to sign up for the email alerts at thenewpatriotpac.com. thenewpatriotpac.com. And I'll be speaking at their rally in Tri-Cities this month on Friday the 23rd. So get on the email list. Check out the new gear and my new book at chiefculp.com. You guys, I will see you later. God bless you and God bless America. Good night.